Guys, it's Steve and Courtney. We just got done with a closing here, and this is one where the seller was far away, so it's just us. And so to make the time pass, no, I'm just kidding. We wanted to actually share some of the details of this deal with you guys because I know that you guys enjoy seeing some of this, and we just want to be more transparent. Do you want to tell them about what the deal was? And
yeah, I mean, so and look, this is a real collaboration with myself and Courtney. So it's a deal that we generated at Home by Louisiana.
It was a special deal for you too. Don't forget to mention that.
Yeah, it was our 100th property closing at Home by Louisiana, so definitely a special deal. But cool. But the deal came to us, and Arione, our acquisition specialist, got all the information from the seller, and it just became really apparent that a cash deal wasn't going to work. So we do a lot of cash offers. That's really our main thing. We either wholesale them or we burr them. I've done some creative deals myself. But, when I started working with Courtney, I learned she's way better, right? So, there's this whole collaboration thing that we spoke to the seller, we realized it wasn't going to be a cash deal. So instead of spending a lot of time trying to put a deal together, we just went straight to the expert. So we set up Courtney. This is something, we've got a bit of a process in how we do this together actually. So we set Courtney up so that she could make a deal out of a pretty hard, I don't think many people could have done this deal, Courtney, by the way, just power to you. This had a lot of moving parts.
This is the most complicated deal that you've seen thus far?
Definitely had the most, there's a lot of different strategies together, right? It wasn't like, yes, it was subject to, yes, but there's a lot of other elements, reducing the liens, private money, there's a whole bunch of things that went together. So I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so this is a house over in Kenner. When he found it, seller had inherited it. So first of all, it's succession property. So let's just call that one of the main pain points. But he actually had other investors try to buy the property from him, but they could not close because during the title search, number one, the heir himself, the seller, was surprised to find there was an actual mortgage on the property. He didn't know that toward the end of her life, mom went out and got a mortgage. And so because he didn't know that, he wasn't making the payments. And so it was actually in active foreclosure at that point. Pretty significant. The monthly payment was $776, okay? So $776. I think to reinstate the mortgage, we had to pay $29,000. So that's of course there's some foreclosure fees on that, but that's a pretty significant amount of missed payments for something with that low of a monthly nut. So he was surprised by that, but he was also surprised by a lot of liens and judgments, just various different creditors. And so those other cash buyers couldn't buy it. So
and I'm going to say, it almost stopped us. When we first figured out the loan, etc., and we were sort of ready to move forward, but then we got hit with a really high lien outside of the property that I thought was going to kill the deal, but Courtney was able to figure it out.
So for the last 9+ years that I've been doing this, I've really solely focused on a lot of these. I've done a ton of these more complex deals, and so I was able to use tools I've already used before, where I tracked down the creditors. One of them was a finance company, a payday loan finance company, who had financed mom's car, and it was 20+% interest. So this lien had doubled. Over the time, some attorney fees that were put up against there, some other things. So I tracked down the creditors, tracked down decision makers, and negotiated multiple of those liens. And so we were able to get that done, and that helped build in some cushion. And then we bought it subject to the existing mortgage. So there was that loan that was there. Now it had a lot of arrears. And so a lot of people, when it comes to subject to, they're like, oh, well, this creative deal is not no money down or low money down. I mean, we were, again, $29,000 just for the mortgage to catch it up. But this house being worth, we think $215,000, $225,000, that first mortgage was the principal balance was $91,000. So the house, had some damage, but not horrible. Easily not one of my worst houses.
No.
Easily closer to one of the, not nicer, but
It didn't scare me, and I don't like rehabs personally. I wholesale most of the full rehabs. I was not fussed by it.
So it's paint, carpet, and then a handful of other little repairs. Cabinets need to be replaced, a fence or section fixed. So wasn't crazy. But we were able to make it work, right? And so we pitched subject to the seller, and we were able to, again, get those liens negotiated, brought down, and then ultimately we did, we structured all the things to make it work. Now, ultimately, that forced us to have a lot of money out of pocket to buy this deal. And sometimes that can really kill a deal when it's creative, when you have so much that you have to come up with, because then you're like, man, I'm having to deploy all this capital for this one deal. And so as a creative investor, I frequently can do deals where there's only a little bit deployed. So it's like, man, do I do this one that's like, it was getting to be 60,000+? I'm like, do I do this one with my own capital, or do I, instead do a whole bunch of little deals? But instead what we did was I use another tool that I frequently use, which is I brought in a private money lender. This is someone who does not have a professional business card that says I lend money. This is not someone who, is going out and saying, hey, I'm a lender, I'll fund your next deal. Like this is a relationship that I have. And a lot of people, they're kind of their confusion. They're like, hey, can I get referrals for private money? I'm like, I can't refer a relationship to you, right? So this is someone within a relationship that I had created that had some capital they wanted to put to use. And they didn't want to have to come and learn the hows, the how-to do all these deals. And so we were able to, is a win-win for the seller, obviously for us, yeah. And then for this private money lender, and they're going to be earning interest on this deal. And so that ended up being a $64,000. Some of you guys heard me at one of the last Westbank meetups, where I was actually asking if anyone wanted to lend on this deal. So we ended up finding it outside of that meeting, but we bring up these opportunities at the meetings because we're always looking to build those relationships. This was actually someone's IRA, their retirement account, that funded this deal. So they moved it to a self-directed custodian who then, so they're now, all the money they make on this deal is going to be tax-free. Mm-hmm. So it's powerful. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, collaborate more, guys. Just don't be an island. Like, get around people, learn from people, work with them, help them. It's all about collaboration. Yeah, and don't be afraid to stack different strategies on these types of deals. So obviously we're buying it subject to, so we're buying it creatively, and we are including private money, but we're actually going to be selling this one creatively on a lease option to a tenant buyer. And so there's going to be more moving parts here. Let your strategies collaborate as well. Is that what you're saying? I think you are. So it's like one of those things where it's like, at the end of the day, if you're one trick pony, if you're walking around and all you can do is make a cash offer, like Steve primarily does with his bread and butter in this changing market. But like I said, I've been doing this for a long time, but it's like, especially right now, this is needed. And so, look, if you're acting like an island, being like all the business that you're doing is just you and maybe the professionals you hire, that's good. But at the end of the day, it's not good, because I think you're leaving money on the table. So don't be afraid to get out and get to know people. And you don't just show up to one of the Westbank meetups and stand there and be like, who wants to collaborate with me? No, it means get to know people. Maybe going for coffee or lunch the next week after the meetup. Go for the drinks afterwards. Go to the North Shore meetup. Go to the Red Stick Ria. Go to Jay Alexander's meetup. Just go to whatever. Go to Maria. Go to all of them. Let people get to know you. And don't just come one time think that that's going to be enough. Let people get to know you. Yeah. And I know that we met pretty early on outside of what was Bigger Pockets and some of the Facebook groups. Yeah. You came up and you had some construction questions. Yeah. And that was, you have to be able to deposit into these relationships before you can withdraw. Yeah, absolutely, guys. So keep collaborating. See you at the meetups, the Westbank, anyone, North Shore, all of them. I go to them too. So keep collaborating. Hey, congrats on your 100th deal. Hell yeah.